GoPro has made a business model out of selling you accessories that you may or may not actually need, and so I was a little bit leery when the Max Lens Mod came out. I mean, the camera already has a wide-angle lens, and now you're paying $100 to get an even wider angle lens. I wasn't really sure if that made sense, but it's currently on sale for 30% off if you have a GoPro subscription, so I decided to just give it a try. You know, the whole thing ended up coming out to $77 with tax and free shipping. So first of all, what is the Max Lens Mod actually even doing? Well, to put it into perspective, with regular super view, you've got a 148-degree field of view, but that's without image stabilization at all. Once you add image stabilization, it crops into a 138-degree field of view. Now, when you add boost to that, it crops into an even tighter 121-degree field of view. Whereas the Max Lens Mod is giving you a full 155-degree field of view straight out of camera. But it's not just that, it's actually giving you a better looking wide-angle image. You know, Super View has that total like distorted kind of warpy fisheye look, whereas with the Max Lens Mod it's actually corrected in camera, so it's giving you this really wide angle image without all that distortion on the corners. You know, it looks a lot more nice and a lot more natural. You know, but it doesn't end there, it's actually giving you better image stabilization as well. I mean, I mentioned this in my GoPro Hero 9 review that the Hero 9 literally has the best image stabilization that any GoPro has ever had. And yet when you add the Max Lens Mod, it's somehow even better than that. I mean, that's almost like incomprehensible. See, with the Max Lens Mod, you're able to add horizon lock. Now, I know at this point you've seen a million of these videos where YouTubers are like, oh look, I'm turning the camera, I'm turning it all around. And it's like, yeah, okay, we get it, it's holding it level, but that's the thing. I really am turning the camera all around and it really does just hold it level the entire time. However, I do have to admit that there are some certain drawbacks to using the Max Lens Mod. The biggest one is resolutions and frame rates. Now, part of the reason you probably got a GoPro Hero 9 is because you've got that 5K at 30 frames per second. But when you're using the Max Lens Mod, you're limited solely to 2.7K and 1080p. You have no access to 5K, you have no access to 4K, and on top of that, you have no access to the higher frame rates. For example, like you just think, oh well, I'll just film 1080p, 120 frames per second or 240. Nope, 1080p is limited to the exact same frame rates that 2.7K is. Both of them only have 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and 60 frames per second. And of course, for a lot of you guys that do action sports and use those 4:3 aspect ratios, same goes for those, and you have them also in 2.7K and 1080p. See, for me, the Max Lens Mod falls into kind of a weird gray area. It's not something that you really need, but once you actually experience it, once you actually try it out, it's kind of hard to go back to not having it. See, for me, the Max Lens Mod is one of those things where a spec sheet tells you absolutely nothing. Like, if I just looked at the facts and figures and said, oh, okay, well, it's taking a 121-degree field of view to 155 degrees, I would probably just say, who cares? That's not for me. But having spent a few days filming and editing with this lens, I can't go back to not having it. See, that's the thing I'm trying to say here is user experience is 100% of the experience when it comes to the Max Lens Mod. So for you, I would actually suggest that like you either find someone who already has it and just borrow it for a few days to try it out, because if you're just debating and all you're doing is reading the specs, well, it's probably not going to do much for you. But I have a feeling that once you try it out, you're probably going to actually like it. And not just like it, but like it a lot. Anyway. I think that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.